All right, lovely people. Excited to be here again. I want to, if you're watching this on a replay, please write replay down the bottom. That way I can make sure that you've seen it and say hello. Today's session is, what is HR? What is human resources? Is it different from people and culture? What makes up human resources, and how can I use it to empower my teams? The way I like to look at HR, human resources, the function of the business is, if you employ staff or contractors, you have a right and an obligation to create a safe workplace. And what HR does is it sets the foundations for that. So there are a lot of policies involved: anti-bullying, sexual harassment, discrimination, all those sorts of things that set up the business and your teams for clear expectations. I talk about expectations a lot. So it sets up your foundations for people's success. And that's where we're driving it, people's success. So that's what HR is. Very simply put, it is the thing that we put in place in order to prevent issues from happening, prevent conflict from occurring. It is something that sets the general expectations of behaviour within the organisation. And it helps to keep you on track. Tools like performance management policies and performance management tools, KPI setting, all these sorts of things that formulate the sort of technical HR stuff rather than the leadership stuff. Why do I think this is important for businesses? Let me ask you a few questions. How comfortable are you right now in your performance management system and process for your business? Does it provide the outcomes you want for your business? Do you understand the requirements of what a redundancy actually is? Do you know what a redundancy actually is, and what the steps you have to take in order to make someone redundant? Are you happy with your termination process? Is your termination process something that you feel very confident in? That's so confident, in fact, that if you were faced with going to an unfair dismissal claim, would you feel confident, so confident in your processes, that if you were to go to an unfair dismissal claim, you would be absolutely confident and fine with defending the case? This is what the HR systems set up. How is this different from leadership? Two very different aspects. One's very fundamental, but a great leader will utilize these tools in actually putting it all together and using them as their foundations for people's success. How does that then play into culture? It sets the right standards. It creates the standard, of behavior within the organization. That's what HR is, setting the standard of behavior in an organization. So they're the things I want to think about today. I wanted to talk about contractors for a moment as well. Just because you're employing contracted staff does not necessarily mean, and when I say that, I'm talking about subcontractors. When you're employing subcontractors, that doesn't necessarily mean that you are subcontracting your risk and safety element either. You still need to have safety plans in place. You still need to have your OH&S management systems in place. So I want to make that pretty clear, that there are some things within there that HR will come in and actually help you work through. Now, I've been chipping away at the background and creating something fabulous that I wanted to share today, and I'm going to share again probably next week. I've created a program. I've created an online program that helps managers and business owners create this and create their foundations that represent their own business. Very exciting things to come. So first off, what I'm going to do is pop up in a little questionnaire about what your business currently has, what your business needs, all those sorts of things. And we're going to pop up like a little bit of a health check. How is my team going? How is the business going? What do I think we need? And what that does then is allows me to actually say, okay, well, let's put in place, let's chat about, where the priorities are in your business and your team and how we can get there. So the foundations of HR set the standard for behavior across the business, and that then feeds into your culture. The next level on top of that is leadership skills and management training and all those beautiful other things that I absolutely love as well. So that is the difference of what HR is, and leadership. So looking forward to posting the health checkup. If you have any questions, drop them in the live comments box. I'd love to help you help answer those this morning. I think that's all I had to go through this morning, was just a really brief description of what HR was. Do businesses need it? As I said, if you feel that you can confidently defend yourself against an unfair dismissal claim, then you're along the right path. If you're a bit hesitant and not quite sure how to make someone redundant or how to have that conversation in the right way, and there are steps to a redundancy conversation, if you need assistance with your performance management tools, if you need the basic policies in place, what policies do I even need? What are the basic policies do I need? What if someone came to you and requested domestic violence leave? That's a thing. Domestic violence leave is an allowance now in businesses, and if you are in a team, you need to be aware of the policies that you have as a business, or you need to be aware of what you need to put in place. So these are the sorts of things that I go through with a bit of a health check. So I'll ask a lot of questions. It'll be on a form that we can then have a conversation about. And hi, Maria. Thanks, Maria. It will be on a form. It'll be something that I put together. So a health check for your business in health and safety, mental health and safety, as well as HR processes. That is exactly what HR is all about. It's about the people. It's about being and making sure people are safe, happy. My goal in HR is to make sure people are happy at work, because happy workers go home and create happy impact and positive impact in their life around them. And that's exactly why I do what I do. So HR is more than just creating the foundations. That's what we're experts in. That's what we love doing, is creating those foundations, making sure that each business knows exactly what they need to be able to provide that safe workplace for people. But it also creates the conversation. It's about creating a conversation and not letting these policies sit. Yeah, that's right, Maria. Exactly. Happy workers. That's what I want. I want life to be happy. But yeah, so it's about not letting those policies sit on the shelf, but making sure that they're living and breathing in the things that we do, and not just dragging them off and dusting them off when there's an issue. The whole idea of HR is preventative maintenance. It's about taking your car to the mechanic to get serviced, going to the doctors more regularly for your health check, checking in with yourself to see how you're going and mentally coping. That is what HR is. It's that preventative maintenance. By the time you've gotten to, if you've got a small team and, you've got one person who just does not get along with the other people, or just doesn't get the concept, and you haven't laid out the expectations or have the foundations to rely on creating that pathway for them, what ends up happening is you spend months and months and months trying to give them chances, and I don't have a proper performance management path that aligns with my business goals. So you end up keeping on, we're trying to make it work, and months go by. But what that one thing does to the team morale can be detrimental to everybody, because they sit there and they see, oh my gosh, that they know, they feel it, they sense it. We're people. We're innate beings that can sense what's going on. We know that there's issues here, and that person's just that little bit more difficult, and I don't understand why, and why are they still here? Morale in the team will go down, and your whole team will end up being less productive as a result, and less happy. I'm sure everyone's got a story of a workplace where that's oh my gosh, I've got a story. Well, I've got a few stories, but working in an environment that, working in an environment where someone is always the squeaky wheel gets a little draining when you're the one really wanting to just get in and do the work and feel happy, and it can be really draining. And that's where HR comes in. That's where your foundational stuff comes in, is to give you a clear path to go down before it gets to the point where it's impacting everybody around that person. Our energy, I remember someone saying to me once, the energy you bring into the room can be felt before you even speak. And imagine if someone's speaking negatively. I think that's just even worse. So I always remember that if I walk into the office and I've just had a crappy morning sitting in traffic and I'm all frustrated and frazzled, and I'll walk into the office with that, everyone had their heads down. There was no, oh, hi Kelly, good morning. It was everyone's like heads down, tapping away at the keyboards, because of the energy I was bringing into the room. So be mindful of other people's energies in your office space. Yes, everybody has down days, and yes, that's okay. Address that. Make sure you've got, you understand how to address mental health conversations. It can be as simple as going, oh, hey, I noticed you're not quite yourself this morning. Is everything okay? And they might just say, yeah, look, something's going on at home. Don't really want to talk about it. Okay, no worries. Just let me know if there's anything I can do, or if you need to go and take a break. That's not a problem at all. It can be as simple as that, those sorts of conversations. But don't just ignore them. We're all people. We all have our own ups and downs. Be conscious of the energy within your team, because I know by creating these beautiful foundations and then adding to them with leadership training and, being your exceptional self as a leader, you will create a beautiful vibe in the business. But it doesn't happen organically. It takes work and understanding of individuals. So I just wanted to say thank you this morning for joining. I am going to post up my live. I'm going to post up my live if I'm still live. It seems to be still recording. I'm going to post up my health check for everybody, and that way you can have a link to see if that's something you want to progress with. I also have an online course coming. Super excited about that. So watch this space. It's coming. I'm super excited. So this will be for managers. It'll be online training and in-person support for you to go and be your best. I also have a CEO and business owner package coming as well. So keep an eye out. Have a marvelous Thursday. I hope some of this has been useful for you, and have a happy, productive, high vibe day.